Thank you. That was great. Lots of good challenges. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to do group exercise. We're going to pass out the exercises. So here's the timing. We're going to spend about 30 minutes doing the exercise, 20-minute discuss as a group with sort of a roving mic. The process, split into groups of 10, 8 or 10, around the room. Read the exercise and answer, it's not answer the question, but answer question number 1, and time permitting, answer the question which is the same as your group number, or answer question number 11, which I think is the most important question. Write your answers on the flip chart, on the pieces of paper. Select a spokesperson, so if you get called on, you can type in. We don't have a ton of time. What I'd like to do is, as we get into our groups, I want to go over the exercise with you to try to reduce any confusion, because we don't have a lot of time. Okay, the example is fairly lengthy. So please, now you can go in groups, get the pieces of paper, and when you're at your groups, I will come back on the mic and go through the exercise with you. Now, what I want to do is I want to start with, and anyone, this is a little hard to see. This group here is fairly to see. Whoever was in the group, if you could explain your thinking, I really want to know, and I want us to share what your thinking process was. How did you decide? And what did you put in the iteration? And then we'll talk about some of the trade-offs you had to think about.
Okay, for us, what our group is discussing is we'll start with the outstanding task 1.4. So earlier is the okay, based on the table, so we still got the 5-stage training, so we will move to the iteration 3. So how we define, and we allocate the resource for the writers like this. And the next task will be 1.6. We assign the resources to the editors, so remaining 5 days. So both 1.4, 1.6 actually is the overdue task in the iteration 2. Okay. For 1.3, for the iteration 3 task, for the remaining works 11 to 15. So basically already done in the iteration 2. Okay. So there is advance in the effort. So basically already extra in the iteration 2. So in the iteration 3, basically we need only 10 days rather than 20 days estimated.
Did everybody get that? So something happened, one resource was able to get more done, so iteration 3, you were able to fill that person's time with more other stuff.
Okay, so the next activity we schedule is 1.5. So it remains same. So we assign to the writer 2. So basically we have the second writer on the total number of 20 days, followed by 1.7. Task 1.7 for the patients for the editors, another 20 days. We still not complete about the discussion on the 2.1 for the informal survey on the research. So basically the researcher want to do the research on the 5 days. And that will basically end up the 20 working days for the researchers or writers. For the 2.9 activities, we dive in this is an outstanding activity in the iteration 2. So we assign the project managers the remaining 5 days to work on the iteration 2's outstanding tasks.
Yep.
And next will be 3.3. We allocate to the translators. We will follow the 20 days allocated. And 3.5, 3.6, 3.7, we assign to the project managers. Yeah, we put an asterisk here because we are in the middle of discussions.
Right, well, because you're saying, gee, the actual amount of time it's going to take them to get the bids and determine the pricing is only 5 days and 2 days and 5 days, but
Yeah.
the reality is that when they go to get bids, it's going to take them 30 days.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
they're going to start it in this iteration. This is
Yeah.
exactly what we do in our regular project planning. You have to start it sometime. You're not going to get it done in one sprint or in one iteration. So you start it here and you finish it, and you know you're not going to know until the next time. Okay, that's great. This is kind of what I was expecting. Now, what I would like to do is the folks on this one here, which has many, it seems like many. I'd like you to talk about how your decision making and just what tasks, don't worry about the actual amount of time.
Okay, as Stacey mentioned, there was no wrong or right answer.
There's no wrong.
Well, what we did was, everything was kind of chaotic. So we basically list out everything and we circle things that we think will be relevant to iteration 3. There's only actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tasks right
Okay,
there.
okay.
So it's basically the same he was saying.
Okay.
So don't let the long list scare you. We're doing exactly the same thing.
Okay, I have a question for some other group. In 1.4, it says this task was the compile all the information for the walk. And what they found was it took a lot more time and the maps were not easily available and must add a new task to the work on that. So it becomes a separate, I know everybody puts it on as 1.4, but really it ended up and was thinking that it would become a new task unto itself. So what I was trying to show here is that the work was underestimated, but it wasn't the fault of anyone. Nobody really kind of knew. And then when they got into it, they realized, oh wow, we can't use what we expected. We have to do something completely different. And that happens on our projects all the time, where when you actually dig into something, you realize that it's really not what you like, or it was harder. Typically, it's harder than you expect, or it's going to take more time. And the thing about Agile is that you would simply add that as a new backlog item and allocate that to someone when it was at the appropriate time.